It's Turtle Tuesday, and I'm really red. And that's because I've already lit up the brothers. So in this video, I'm going to show you what I have set up already as far as the diorama and the lighting are concerned. Then I'm going to pose up the brothers so you can see what I'm thinking about as I do that. Maybe add a little bit of a foreground, take the picture, talk about that for a sec, and then we can all go about our day. Hopefully you can go about your day watching more Toypixx videos. So go grab a turtle or four, and let's get this party started. First off, I'm backlighting the left-hand side with this red gel-covered LED. And then I decided I wanted to show the actual colors of the turtles, so I've got this white LED that's set on the lowest setting. And then I'm backlighting again on the right-hand side this time with another gel-covered LED. So that's what's going on with the lighting. And then this is that High School Creations diorama that I've been using a lot of. It's just the inside instead of the outside. Now I've also got these set up just in case I decide I need them, but I'm not 100% sure they're going to get used. We'll see what happens. Now it's posing time. Okay, if you watched my Action Force and G.I. Joe video where I talked about how in a group shot I like to focus everything on one particular character, well, you'll know that I'm looking at four turtles here. I've got to choose a character, and I'll be honest, Mikey is my absolute favorite turtle, so I am always tempted to put him front and center, but I'm not going to do that this time. This time, I'm going to focus the lighting and the actual focus from the camera on Leonardo. Don't know why, just feeling a little Leo-y today. So what may or may not happen when it comes to actually shooting this thing is I might use the best nightlight from the smartphone on top of Leo to maybe pop him out not only from the background, though it might not need it because of the red coming through the windows, but maybe to kind of pop him out a little bit from his brothers. I'll keep you posted and let you know if that happens. Okay, I've already moved the other turtles out of there, but I wanted to show you a little added challenge I gave myself. That is, Raph is holding his sai, or size. Again, I still don't know the plural there. Don's got his bow. And Mikey's got one chuck and one throwing star. So I just added that in there just to kind of make me have to think about the shot a little bit more. And then, of course, Leo just has his one katana. Now, as I'm setting these up, keep in mind that in the old Mirage comics, a lot of times when the turtles were fighting, they had their bandanas out to the side like this. So even though it makes no sense when they're inside to have them floating off to the side like that, I'm going to do that, and each bandana is going to be facing kind of the same direction. So like we have Leo there, we have Mikey there, and those bandanas are going to go whatever direction I decide to go with when it comes to Leo. So that's just something to keep in mind as I'm making this stuff happen. Oh, and if you dig these turtles and you missed out on them, their secondary market prices aren't actually all that insane, so I'll be sure to leave an eBay affiliate link in the video description. Consume! In case you decide you want to. Okay, it's time to pose up Leo here, and here I was just kind of messing with him when I was deciding what to do as far as the lighting was going and all that stuff earlier. I kind of like this pose. I'm not sure I need to do anything else with it. So, yeah, we're going to focus on Leo. And he's going to be just like that. It's always a little more interesting when the characters aren't looking right at the camera. So I'll probably turn him ever so slightly this way. And now, maybe even have him a little off center. Remember that I'm also going to be looking at this stuff through the viewfinder on my regular camera. So what you're seeing on screen is just me figuring out the posing. You're not actually going to see what the shot is ultimately going to look like until, of course, I take the shot. Anywho, I'm also going to make sure to have them so it's going to be kind of a close-up shot. So I think I'll move them just to the side here a little bit. And now, who's next? It's kind of tough right now, okay, because there's not tons of space behind him. He's got all this space in front of him because of the way he's holding his katana, but I don't want to put a figure in front of him. Again, these are just the weird things you think about when you're trying to set up a group shot. So what I think I'll do, let's get Mikey in there off to the side a little bit. The way I'm going to pose him up, let's see, get him almost ready to, like he's going to throw the star. And I'm going to pretend they're getting ready for a big battle with the foot. Like the foot are in here, and they're getting ready to throw down. The problem is, I don't have any foot because I don't know that I've seen, or I haven't seen, any of the red Mirage ones that have been released. So once those happen, then I can have a real throwdown with the turtles. But here we go. Mikey's got that all good to go. That's about as high as I can make the shoulder happen, which is kind of a shame. But let's bend a little more. Okay, I'm okay with that on the elbow. Does he have more range? He might not have much more range. Okay, he might have had a touch more, but not a lot. All right. So there's Mikey ready to go. Again, keep that bandana pretty much the same direction as Leo. I'm going to have him so his chucks are up a little bit. Oh no, we lost chucks. One thing my Michelangelo has going on that I'm hoping isn't too crazy common for this set is one side of the chucks kind of, well, it falls off the string. So now I've got to try and figure out how to put that back in there, install it into the belt, all that stuff. I'll, of course, do that off camera, but the reason I bring it up is if anybody knows a fix, let me know in the comments, will you? Okay, with his chuck back in the belt, I think what I'm going to do with this one is get it under the armpit a little bit there so we can hold it that way. It can be kind of tough to get your thumb in there and the chuck at the same time. You can see that that's fallen. Okay, let's just get my thumb out of there and see what happens. No, Mikey! Ladies and gentlemen, for my favorite turtle. He knows he's my favorite turtle. And he's kind of finicky. That's what happens when you're the party dude, obviously. Alright, I've got it in there now. We're looking good. We're looking all Mikey-like. I think I want to extend his arm just a bit. And, of course, he loses the chuck again. And, of course, I hit the camera. You'll have that. And I want to make sure this doesn't fall out again. So, oh, no! All right. I'm going to pose Mikey off camera. Don't worry. As soon as I get that done and put him up there, I'll show you what all I did. Okay. Here's Mikey all posed up. I'll show you what I did here. I decided to put him on his back leg a little bit, so he had to balance like this. So his front leg is going to look a little longer than his back because I've got the back all bent like that. The way that NECA does their hips, or did their hips for these turtles, is it kind of slides over to one side, so I was able to get a little more of a bend at the hip there because of that, which is cool. And then this is pretty much a straight leg, and everything else was pretty straightforward, I think, as far as what all I did when it came to Mikey here. So I'll turn him a bit, show a little bit of angles in case you're wondering how some of the arm movement was done. But I think you're pretty much going to have it. And now I will set Mikey up right here and hopefully not have quite as many problems with his brothers. Now also, I want to make sure that they're all kind of facing somewhat different ways. I don't want them all to be facing the same way. It just makes the picture a little less interesting. So that's why I have Mikey turned that way. And yeah, if I knew what I was doing a little bit more when it came to editing, that totally would have been one of those a few years later moments. Okay, now it's Donnie time, and I always feel kind of bad, well, as bad as you can for these plastic inanimate objects, when it comes to Donnie, because he's got the bow, which always means he pretty much ends up in the back of a shot unless I decide he's the focus, just because the bow takes up so much room, kind of like we had here with Leo and his katana. So what I'm going to do is, of course, put Donnie in the back, right behind Leo, off to this side a little bit, off to the right. So the way I'm going to do this, since I've got him just holding it with one hand, I'm going to make it so it's almost like he's challenging somebody to come to him. So I've got that going right now. Move his head a little bit. I kind of like that look. That looks a little more threatening. Not that Donnie would be all threatening or anything. But yeah, I like that head tilt, the way that works. So arm pretty much straight out. Just because that's also going to help him stay kind of out of the way over there. He's not going to possibly be bumping into anything. And then I had this hand that I put on. Maybe here he's kind of got that back a bit, holding it out. There we go, a little bit of action there with old Donnie. And I might do the same thing with the hip that I did with Mikey. You know what? No, let's go with Don's gonna have the straight leg in the back and the bent leg in the front. Now, the reason I'm gonna do that is just a different look, but you can see the way the hips work here. You slide them. Kind of whichever direction you need to go. So now what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to make this one straight, which means I'm going to slide it this way so I can bend this leg more. And I'm going to test right in front of the camera, just testing his balance right now. Instead of just right here, let's see, and we'll bend him a little bit. And I think I might have Donnie. But remember, we want the bandana to face the same direction as the others. So we'll do that. And put Donatello right in the back there. Don't worry. I'll make sure that the camera's good to go. And like I've done with other photos like this, I might make sure that, well, I'm going to make sure that there's little adjustments made to get everybody in the frame the way I want it. So now it's time for Raph. Thank you, Donatello, for being so much easier than your brother. It seems a lot of people are really big fans of this angry guy, and, well, I can see why. It's that red bandana, right? Wah, wah, wah. This is probably why I should write scripts. I want to make Raph look like the violent guy he is, but sometimes it can be a little tricky the way the articulation is on these NECA figures. So, let's see. There I go. He's looking a little stabby there. And now maybe what I can do, because I'm trying for an interesting look at the same time that I'm doing everything else, so I don't want him to have, I don't want it on the same plane, kind of, I don't want them exactly even with each other. So let's see. Got a little bit of stabby down. It can be a trick. Those shells, they're always getting in the way of their articulation. So I think that's all right. Now we can angle him just a touch, or should I just keep him straight on? I'll angle him just a touch, but I think what I'm going to do with his legs, just so he's not in everybody's way and knocking everybody down, is just keep him totally straight. So I'm going to stand him up real quick, and then I'll put him behind everybody. Let's see. Yeah, he's pretty solid. He's pretty good to go as is. Oh boy. You never wait for the last guy to be the one that you put behind something. Okay, Raph, don't hurt anybody. Please, Raph, don't hurt him. Ooh, I like that. A little bit of Raphael head tilt attitude style. And he can be looking, yeah, we'll have him facing a similar way as everybody else. Or at least everybody on that side. Mikey's got the other side covered. Because he's that good. He's Mikey. He's the best turtle. He's got the chucks. Lower Donnie's bandana just a bit. And now I think bandanas are good to go. We can maybe tighten up the shot just a little bit so that everything's going to fit nicely in the camera, in frame. Back Raph up just a touch, because remember, the focus is going to be on Leo. Even though everybody's in the shot, he's going to be the one that's clearest when it comes to it. So, now, I'm going to look through the viewfinder and see what I've got so far, and then come back and see if I need to put anything in the foreground. After looking through the viewfinder, I have determined that this thing needs a foreground. So I showed you the bar and the stools earlier. What I'm going to try and do is use this bar to put it kind of in front of everybody. It doesn't even need to look like a bar. It just needs to be something to kind of cover the front ever so slightly. And I don't want it necessarily on the exact same angle as everybody else. So let's see here. All right, that's not bad. There we go. Well, nah. It's all just stuff that you're looking at, trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to do this? That's not too bad. Get it off to the side here. What I was watching for there was I didn't want it to run in the same diagonal as Leo's toes. So now that's not bad. Here, we can take this. That's more than foreground is the problem with that. So why don't I, instead of worrying about that in the foreground, let's just do, things, man. I need glue. I think glue is one of those things that could be helpful. So take this, and I'll just put it in front of Donnie, just to add a little more stuff into the shot. And maybe this one. I'm telling you, folks, glue. Glue is key. Maybe this one we'll put more in front of Leo like that. As I was trying to avoid that exact same angle. So there it is. I've got a little bit more of a foreground. I don't know if I need much more. I might look. Okay, hold on. Be right back. I've got this little disc thing that kind of, there's LEDs in there and it pops up and it makes things all colorful. And it makes no sense to have in this shot as far as, things that would be in a building are concerned. But it's going to be really blurry, so it probably doesn't matter much. And even if it's not crazy blurry, it's not going to be anything that's near the focus of anything else. So there it is. Now it feels like the turtles are immersed in something a little more than if they just didn't have any kind of background or foreground going on. Now it kind of feels like they're in a mess and they're prepping to throw down with the foot. So I'm happy with this setup just as it is. And yes, I am going to light up the top of Leo's chrome dome with the iPhone using the Best Nightlight app. The reason for that is it'll separate him out from his brothers a little bit. It'll separate him out from the background a little bit. It'll keep him as the focus of the shot, which is kind of what I set out to do in the first place. And there's the final shot, ladies and gentlemen. That is straight out of the camera. And yes, I did shoot it at that angle. I find that using angles like that always makes the shot look a little more action-packed, and to me, it also makes it just look a little more interesting. Now, your mileage may vary, but I really like shooting at those angles just to give it something a little different compared to a lot of what you see out there. That's it for this one, ladies and gentlemen, and no, I will not be turning off the red light. Anyway, do me a favor, comment below and let me know, is this the kind of video that you're finding helpful? Do you want me to celebrate Turtle Tuesday every Tuesday? And I think that's pretty much it. So until next time, thanks as always for watching, have fun, and happy snapping. See ya. This morning, some friends of mine and I got started talking about some crazy energy drink experiences. So one of the things that I did way back when was I drank 5 Red Bulls in about an hour 15, hour and a half, something like that. And I was faster than Excel. Like, I would hit enter and I would have to wait for it to go to the next cell. Also, you know how they say Red Bull gives you wings? When I would get up to walk, I didn't feel my feet hitting the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, don't do that.